Okay, so this is my program. Here I have the Chord Pro main class, command interpreter class, and the song library and song classes. So from the main method, it creates a song library object, a command interpreter, and then it runs that. So let's just look at that. So here in my song library, I have the original find songs like method, which creates a list, an array list of songs that match the keywords. And I do that using, so first I organize the keywords so that this is implemented so it can do it in any order, whichever order you write down the keywords. I create an array list and then I loop through that and the songs in order to find if the song matches the keywords, all the keywords. So only when it loops through all of the keywords and the found boolean still remains true, then it is determined that that song indeed matches the keywords and it is added to the found songs list. If one of the keywords is not part of the song, then the found boolean becomes false and it immediately breaks it. Therefore, it would not be added to the found songs list. Over here in my song class, I have a lot of methods. Well, first I start by I have all these colors. I have some, private variables here, just for use later on. Starting with the methods, I have my getSong title method, which just returns the title. I have the song constructor, which just initializes the title and some Chord Pro lines. Then I have the print Chord Pro to console, so this is just the method that I use to print the lyrics and the chords in the original Chord Pro format. And I have another method here, which is printing the console in the lyrics over, or the chord over the lyrics format. So here it's not very self-explanatory, but I have basically a system where I'm looping through each line and identifying which parts of it are lyrics and which parts of it are chords. And once I finish through the line and I have a chord portion, which includes the chords in their, just letter format without the brackets and just spaces, I add that at the end here to a array list called formatted lines, and then I print that. So the second line, so every even line will be chords. So for example, the 0th line, or I guess that would be the first line, and then the second line, blah blah blah, and then those would be the chords, and then underneath it would have the lyrics for the corresponding line. And yeah, basically I find all the lyrics, I find all the chords, and I have a Boolean variable here for space, which basically tells me whether I need to add spaces in the chord line only if the chord appears, or only if the chord doesn't appear in between some words, in the Chord Pro format. So basically, if it only makes space true if it's at the beginning of the line, or if there is a space before the chord. If there's no space, that implies that there is another word before it, and it means it's in the middle of a word, let's say, and therefore there is no need for spaces. And I also have a kind of section here which implements the transposition. Where is it? Yeah, so basically I identify what the chord is that I started with from the Chord Pro format, and I find that in my list. So I have an array list up here which holds all the notes, and then depending on what the transposition is set to, it'll either bring it up or move it down by the certain amount of semitones which is specified, and that'll be implemented. So you can change the transposition using the transpose method here, which just changes the transposition variable by increasing or decreasing by a certain number of semitones. So depending on what the transposition is, it'll change the chord from one to the other and then re-implement that into our formatted lines for the chords over here. And so let me look again at this, and then I print it out with different colors for the chords and for the lyrics. And if it's out of its original transposition, then color changes to another one, in purple in this case. Then I reset the text color after I finish printing it, just so it's identifiable what's the what's the lyrics and what's just the console. So now let's test it. We're going to run the program, and it'll run directly from main. This is the method that's running right now. So I'll start by finding a song. Let's say if it has love in the title. See Never My Love, so it finds that right away. Or if I were to say, Love My, it'll still find that, the same song. Or say Hair Sister, it'll find that, Sister Golden Hair. And then as soon as I type in, because I found an array list with only one object that's shown as my selected song, and so once I type in show with no input afterwards, it prints it in the chord over lyric format with different colors. And yep, so when I transpose, I can transpose it up a little bit. Let's say I'll transpose it up by 2, and now when I show, you can see all the notes are changed, all the chords are changed, and it's in a different color. And if I were to go back down by 2, it'll go back to its original. Transpose. It'll go back to its original, and the color will go back. As well, if I type in find with no input, then it will show every song that I have, and I can go from here. I can select which one I want, so I'll select show 3. Now that becomes my selected song, and when I transpose that, it'll affect this.